evolved into is taking the anatomy and the black and white knowledge of what we learned in school and what I was so happy to graduate because of and pass my boards because of, and certainly is important. It's foundational knowledge, don't get me wrong. But my job and my interaction with people has really evolved to now I am all about human behavior, right? So studying human behavior, studying why we do the things we do, and I have to be that way because when I'm working with people now, it's no different than helping somebody lose weight. It's no different than helping somebody kick a bad habit. We're trying to help people make lifestyle changes, and so I have been reading and studying and spending all sorts of time, for my own good, but then for individuals that I work with, studying some of this stuff. And I think it would be beneficial, to get some of this information out there, and then try to give you a couple recommendations for actionable steps. And that's really what the mindset and the motivation piece of this is. It's not necessarily a kick in the pants, rah rah, like there's no weeds in the world and everything is good. But it is trying to give you a little bit of a different perspective and maybe a paradigm shift, and just to start asking yourself some better questions. Somebody that I really admire and respect has helped me do a much better job of understanding that the better questions we ask, the better answers we get. The worse questions we ask, the worse answers we get, and really the quality of your life is going to be 100% dictated by the questions that you ask, both of yourself and of others. And so for today's kind of Tuesday motivation, we're going to talk a little bit about the certainty in uncertainty. All right. Again, I'm going to try to minimize the phrase in these uncertain times, in these challenging times, in these trying times. Right. We all know and get it. But I will piggyback on there's certainly uncertainty. Right. And what we have to do, and what I want to try to help people do as much as possible, is realize that there's always uncertainty. At any point in life, there's always uncertainty. Now it's heightened by a lot of the stuff right now around us, the media for one, people we talk to, in getting together with family over the weekend. It's hard to not have conversations go to this point. And if you understand the brain is designed to keep us alive. And so anything that is potentially fearful, potentially fear-based, potentially threatening, we are going to hone in on it, and we're going to have laser beams in on it, and we're more likely to talk about it, and we're more likely to think about it. Okay, so I'm not naive to that, but there's always uncertainty, right? And so what you have to do is you have to kind of flip the script a little bit and actually understand that there is certainty right now, and there's certainty in the fact that things are uncertain, right? It's almost like if you surrender to that, which it's a work in progress for all of us, for me especially given some things that are happening, in my life right now. You have to surrender to the uncertainty a little bit, and you have to find that there's certainty in the uncertainty, right? And what I mean by that is the past is technically an illusion now, and the future has not happened, all right? So the past is just it's a time-based thing, right? It has happened, but even for a lot of us, what happened in the past, we might have changed it in our own head to make it more scary or less scary, more positive, less positive. So technically, and not to get too deep here, but technically the past is an illusion, all right? In our own heads, we've probably morphed it somehow to benefit us or to make it more scary than it was, or whatever it is. The future hasn't happened yet, and so we have zero idea, and it really doesn't make a whole heck of a lot of sense to stress and be overly anxious about it. Now, plan, yes, I have to plan. We all have to plan. Be prepared, yes, we have to do that. But really, when it comes to your own health, your own mental health, your own satisfaction with life, the key and the only truth that really exists is the present moment, all right? And there is a great book, very, very deep again, maybe not for everybody, but there's a very solid book called The Power of Now by, if I botch the name, I apologize, but it's Eckhart Tolle, Tolle, I believe. And really, that's in that book, that's what he's talking about is, our becoming conscious, becoming present, becoming, just doing more being and less thinking, less subconscious, less taking past experiences and projecting them on now, taking what we think is going to happen in the future and projecting it on now. It's all about the present and just being yourself in the present and being happy with the present and kind of surrendering to the present. And that's really what, if you stop and think very, very deeply, again, and easier said than done, but that's the reason why prayer, meditation, exercise, all these things are so, so good, is because they force you to become present in the now, right? Exercise is a great example. If you've felt that feeling of the grueling grind of when is this going to end, and all of a sudden things start to get a little bit more narrow, and you start noticing your breathing, you start noticing your sweating, you start noticing the ache in your body. All that is actually you becoming present in the current moment, right? That's why for a period of time, along with the release of endorphins and everything else that we get from exercise, that's why exercise is so good for a lot of us, is it forces us to become present. Same thing with prayer and meditation, right? It takes you out of the past and it takes you out of the future, and it just brings you to the present time. So I implore you, right? Is it the old stop and smell the roses cheesy saying? Probably a little bit, right? Probably a little bit, but I implore you, in these uncertain times, you only have one truth, and it's the present moment, and everything else is an illusion, or it's not even happened yet. So I think to help you, look at some of these things and take them seriously in terms of how can you become more present. Is it meditation? Is it prayer? Is it exercise? Is it putting the phone away? Is it turning the TV off? Is it taking 10 minutes at the start of your day and going and sitting outside and just looking at a tree? And I know it sounds ridiculous, but thinking about the tree, and does the tree really give a crap about the past? Does it really give a crap about the future? Or is it just being, right? And how can you be more in tune with that, I guess would be the point. So a little bit of woo-woo potentially, depending on where you are, but I just think it's when you stop and think about how simple it is, and simple never means easy, but how simple it is that the only truth we all have is the present moment. All I really know right now is I'm talking to a computer, and my hair looks amazing. So that's the only truth that we have, and I implore you to start wrapping your head around that a little bit more. Take in some of these other strategies to help you become more present. Look into The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. Very deep, very out there, but very, very powerful. And it might have to hit you at the right time. You might not be ready for it right now. You might not be ready for it next week. You might not have been ready for it last week. But if it hits you at the right time, then you'll probably benefit from it in some capacity. So